Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be talking to you about 4 tips to take your music to the next level in 2020 and beyond. We're about to enter a new decade. Tomorrow is going to be a new decade, and these are just some things that I picked up in this past decade of making music to help you take your career and your music to the next level in 2020 and in the next 10 years. So, the first tip here is to stop comparing yourself to other people. And what I mean by this is that tendency that we all sort of have to maybe look at somebody who has more followers than us, or somebody who is younger than us, or somebody who has more money than us, whatever it may be that you're looking at and comparing, and whatever factor it is that you're sort of identifying they have more of than you gotta stop doing that. And the reason why is because simply we're all on a different path in this life. I think a lot of times we think we're kind of on the same path, but it's like, take any person that you've ever compared yourself to. I'm sure you can immediately call to mind somebody. It's like, you weren't born at the exact same time as them. You didn't go to the same elementary school as them. You didn't have the same parents as them, unless I guess it's your sibling. You didn't, whatever it is, it's like, all of these experiences in our life are adding up to what you see now. Like, this channel, me talking to you right now, is an amalgamation of all these different experiences that I've had in my life. And so, for this reason, it's just impossible to really, truly compare ourselves to other people because, you're comparing apples to oranges. It's like you're just simply not the same as them, and they're not the same as you. So stop comparing yourself to other people. It's really not going to help you, and it's kind of like a thing that I think people do to not really take responsibility for taking their own career to the next level. So that's the first thing. The second tip here is stop wasting time. What I mean by this in terms of production is, a lot of times when we're producing a track, it can be very tempting to sit there and look through like a million different kick samples for 2 hours and, try to identify the perfect one. Or, maybe you start a track idea and you think it could be something cool, but then you just kind of sit with it and just keep listening to it for an hour and then finally start to like turn it into something. It's like all of these things. These are kind of like comfortable behaviors. And what I mean by this is, it's comfortable to keep scrolling through kicks. It's a lot more comfortable to keep scrolling through your folder of kicks than it is to really sit down and just choose one of those and turn it into a track. Or, it's a lot more comfortable to sit there and listen to the 8-bar loop and say, I don't know what to do with this, than it is to sit there and say, well, I'm going to figure out what to do with this. But that's what you really need to do, You need to push yourself beyond that comfortable sort of behavior and take yourself out of your comfort zone. Like I said, stop searching through kick samples, stop listening to the loop, and this could be applied to anything. Anything that you do that you feel wastes your time or, maybe makes your music take a little bit longer, try to cut that out. And the reason is, it's not just a matter of workflow or anything like that, but I truly think that when you do this, you start becoming a lot happier. It's like, a lot of times we do these, like, sort of avoidant behaviors where, like, we're avoiding getting the thing that we really want because it seems hard or it seems like it's going to be easier to just keep doing the easy thing. But if you just step out of that comfort zone and say, okay, I'm just going to do the hard thing today. I'm just going to choose one of these kick samples and I'm making a track out of it. Just try that. Like, you never know what is going to come out of that. And oftentimes when you kind of get yourself out of this box, all of a sudden the box seems a lot smaller than it did when you were inside of it. So I definitely recommend that you stop wasting your time and, just try to dive in and make great music. The third tip here that I think is really going to help people is stop buying gear. And what I mean by this is, a lot of times it can seem kind of like, oh, if I don't have, a 909, I can't make great techno because I don't have the real 909 sounds. Or, if I don't have a 303, why would I ever make a 303 with operator when I should just buy a real 303? But the truth is like, it's really not about what you're using. It's just about, like, using the things that inspire you the most. So what I mean by this is, like, you guys see in my videos, for example, I use pretty much all the Ableton stuff. Like, all Ableton stuff and, a lot of my own samples. That's because I've identified the things that work really well for me, and rather than, like, every time I go to make a new track now, rather than saying, oh, well, should I be using this synth or this synth, I just know, well, I'm going to use analog if it's this type of sound, I'm going to use operator if it's this type of sound, and that's how you want to approach it, because it's like, yeah, if you really know one thing or a few things really well like this, you're going to have a lot easier time because you're just going to dive straight into those things rather than, like, you know, it's a whole other battle if you're also trying to learn the synth while you're trying to make the track. So, basically, yeah, stop trying to buy new gear and focus more on the gear that you already have and how you can make the greatest things out of that, because chances are you haven't taken it to its full potential yet. I definitely still haven't taken the Ableton stuff to its full potential yet, and I've been making a video every single day for 2 years now. So, yeah, that just goes to show that. Now, that's the third tip. The fourth and final tip here is simply to stop complaining. You know, I think it can be very easy to start complaining. It kind of goes back to the, like, avoidant and sort of, like, comfortable behaviors I was talking about before, where it's like, you know, like I was saying before, it's a lot easier to complain about something than it is to change it, because it's like, you know, it's almost like this wall that you're putting up, like, right when you see something hard. It's like, if you start complaining about it, you don't have to go and try to change it because you're still trying to get all your complaints out. You know what I mean? But the truth of it is like, you know, complaining doesn't really get you anywhere, and you're really going to be kind of just stuck if you do that. And really what you're doing when you're complaining is you are avoiding changing something, and also you're kind of like tiring yourself out. You know, it's like, if you tire yourself out complaining, you can't go actually produce a great track because you already exhausted all your mental energy. So just, when you feel yourself starting to complain, I'm guilty of this too. If any of you guys who follow me on Twitter, @JulianEarl, have seen me complaining on there a few times in the past. And it's like, you know, anytime you find yourself complaining, what I try to do is just figure out, like, what it is that's making me want to complain. Like, okay, for example, I could be listening to a reference track and trying to produce my own track and say, oh man, like, this is so good, like, they have this great kick sample, like, I'm never going to be able to find a kick sample like that, why am I even trying, and, like, you know, you see, like, the complaints can kind of pile on quickly, but instead, what I could say is, okay, well, you know, this track is really great, they have a great kick sample, I'll probably find my own great kick sample, so let me just get started with it, and, you know, just try to dive in, and that way, again, like, you're literally just not complaining, that's all it is, just don't complain, that's all you have to do, and it's going to come a lot quicker now, because I'm open-minded, and I'm doing things from a place not of, like, being upset or complaining or trying to avoid doing something great, but I'm doing things from a place of just trying to do something good and being open and excited to do that. So yeah, that's really the last tip. I think complaining holds a lot of people back. It's definitely helped me back in the past, so if I can help you guys avoid it, that is all I can really hope for. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I just wanted to give you 4 tips that I picked up on in this past decade of making music, and hopefully these should help you in 2020 and beyond. I want to thank you guys for all the support this year. It's really been amazing. This has been a huge year of growth for me on this channel, personally, music-wise, literally everything, and I couldn't have done that without you guys. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys want to support me also further, link to all my sample packs and my Patreon is in the description. All my sample packs are just like $5 or $10, so yeah, really great stuff for producers out there. And yeah, like I said, you know, thank you so much, guys. This past 2 years of making videos, it's just about to be 2 years in a few days now, has been amazing. My life has changed in so many completely unspeakable ways. I love you all. Have a great end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Peace.